It is 9, well, as the guy just told you, it's 9:15. And look who just walked through the door. Buffalo Ridge Defense, a brand new Amory Lion member.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I joined the Amory Lions. It's a great organization, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Good.
So.
Well, so is Buffalo Ridge Defense.
Bob, we have we live in such an awesome community, an awesome area, great people. But, there's one thing that everyone still worries about, right?
Yeah.
And that's they just want to feel safe at home, right?
Yeah.
They want to feel safe at home.
Yep.
And that brings up today's question, and that's, where do they keep their home defense? Guns or weapons, whatever that happens to be. It doesn't have to be a gun, but where do they keep those? Because where they keep those could be putting them at greater danger or risking someone else's life also.
I have a feeling you're going to tell us.
Well, I'm asking them. That's the question to everyone.
Okay.
We don't have a call in here, so they can't call in and tell us where they keep them. There's no right place. But how could their home defense weapon, something they have to protect themselves and their family, how could that put them at greater risk or risk other people? And that's kids, right? Kids and people that aren't supposed to be able to handle the weapons.
Yeah.
And you have to, you look at Wisconsin law. Wisconsin says, well, first of all, federal law, if you have a handgun, no one under the age of 18 can have access to your handgun.
Yeah.
If they do, you can be held criminal and civilly liable.
That's that first trouble you were talking about.
Yeah, that first trouble, yeah. Trouble, when you have a firearm, you have weapons or anything to protect yourself, you don't necessarily get in trouble just because you're defending yourself against a bad guy or you worry about a bad guy.
Yeah.
You worry about what can happen to the good people that aren't supposed to have access to your weapons, get access to them.
Yeah.
And federal law says anyone under 18 can't have access to any handgun.
And access means you really should lock it away.
Well, access means that unattended access where if you're not home, and you think the best place to keep your handgun is in the nightstand drawer next to your bed, and it's not secure, do your kids that are home alone know enough to leave your gun alone when you're not there, or your pepper spray or whatever it is? And I hope that everyone's trained there and done gun safety with their kids, so if they see a gun, they know not to say anything, but tell an adult, hey, there's a gun laying over there, or whatever it is. That's part of the gun training. But there's one unique thing happens when a 12-year-old is left home alone. Never your kids, and never the listeners' kids, but those other people's kids, is they tend to be curious and snoop through the entire house and search the entire house. There's not a drawer. There's not a mattress that hasn't been lifted. There's not a bed that hasn't been looked under. There's not a closet that they haven't been in.
Exactly.
And my years of experience tells me that's true. And every time I have a concealed carry class, and everyone starts laughing when I say that, the kids search and snoop through the house, and they all go, oh, I can see the look in their face. Oh, not our kids. And then I ask, how many of you guys in this room, it can be 100 people in a room, searched through your parents' home when you were a kid? And literally, just about the entire room raises their hand.
Because we all did it.
Everybody did it. Yeah. Everyone knew exactly where everything was.
And kids are supposed to be curious.
Yeah, but then what a unique thing happens, they turn 13, and they get to have friends over when you're not there. And what's the first thing they want to do is they want to show their friends the cool thing that's in the drawer. And then those friends, those other people's children, pick that gun up, and that's when there's a negligent discharge and someone dies and goes to the hospital. So, what's the very tool you have for home safety might be putting your home at risk, and that's what you want to look at. You look at the other thing that Wisconsin law says is anyone under 14 can't have untethered, or whatever access to any long guns in your home. So just putting that long gun behind the front door is a staged firearm for home defense.
Yeah.
And the kids are home alone, you've done the same thing. If a gun is out where anyone in the home any child or anyone can access it, then the ammunition should be stored and locked up somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
A stage gun is a gun that you have instant access to that you can protect your home. But there's a lot of tools you can use to protect your home. But those stage guns should be in some type of locking, biometric device, something. If you're wearing it, you're in control of it. Yeah. But the moment you take it off, you're not in control. Yeah. And if you take it off and lay it on the kitchen table, because you say, I don't have any kids in my house, I just have my adult friends come over. So if you have your adult friends come over and you happen to have it laying out right where they can see it,
they start looking at it.
And they happen to be a prohibited possessor. Who's a prohibited possessor? Convicted felon, someone that's been dishonorably discharged from the military, someone that's under a court order, someone that's been charged with domestic abuse. There's a whole list of adults that are prohibited possessors.
Whoa.
If you leave that firearm where they can access it, that's called constructive possession. Now, if they have access to it, you've created a situation where they could be convicted of a felony again, and you can be charged with a crime for giving them access to a weapon. And that includes the center console of your car, or under your seat, or your glove box, or anywhere else it's going to be. It's whose responsibility is it to store your firearm?
It's yours.
It's yours. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to keep control of your firearm. And we have firearms. We have other weapons to protect our family. So we're hard to kill and our family's hard to hurt. We're all hard to hurt. But it's still a responsibility. We have to store it the right way. You know, and there's some other things you can get. There's lots of non-lethal things you can have in your home, too, to protect your home.
Yeah.
You could get pepper spray. They make home defense pepper spray now in cans the size of bear spray, if you've seen those. The big cans with grips on them that'll shoot 30 feet.
Ooh.
I've been sprayed with pepper spray. It's not pleasant.
I would think not.
I've never been tased, but you can own a taser if you want, just like the police in Wisconsin, in your own home. And if you're going to carry it in public, you have to have a concealed carry permit. Well, I've never been tased, but all my friends that have been pepper sprayed and tased, both, because they're in law enforcement, 100% of the time will go, I'd much rather be tased. Because tasing lasts for 5 seconds. Pepper spray lasts for half an hour.
Split second. Well, yeah.
You know, it takes a long time for it to wear off. And
I only ever saw somebody tased once. When I was working for the Free Press, they did weekly press conferences. And when Tim Moore was the sheriff, he decided he was going to show us what it was like to be tased. So he had himself tased. Man, I never saw anything like that. I mean, that was
You didn't volunteer to be tased.
I never volunteered for anything.
I've never
learned.
People are like, you want to be tased so you can carry a taser? And I'm like, or have a taser? And I'm like, no. But I don't want to be shot so I can carry a gun either. Either way, it doesn't feel very comfortable.
Exactly.
You know? But, you know, when you own things and you're trying to harden your home, and we live in a great community, but bad people come in, right?
Yes, they do.
Bad people want to take advantage of it.
And you never know.
And your first line of defense, there's lots of layered ways you can, you know, your defense when you look at it for your home, especially your home, is set up in layers where you have what are things you can do to harden the perimeters of your home. Well, number one, you can lock your doors.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But number two, you can have outside lights, keep junk away from the doors, have cameras, have alarm systems put in, or if you can't afford an alarm system, get a 4-legged alarm system that makes noise. You know?
Yep.
I grew up on farms that had donkeys and geese. They were the 4-legged and 2-legged alarms that would let us know when someone else came on the property.
Well, light's always interesting to me because I have a neighbor who has just put up lights high enough on the wall that they shine in my windows.
Yeah, well.
And it's annoying.
Especially if he's trying to see in your windows. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he's not, because there's a great big fence that he's got, a solid fence between his place and ours. And it just, and I know why he does it. Sure, it's a safety thing, but it's irritating.
Yeah,
but
you know, I have motion lights.
That.
I have motion lights set up on our home, but their primary purpose is so we can walk and not trip over anything when we're there.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be set off at the neighbor's house or anything. So that's a consideration, of course. But,
yeah, should be. But anyway.
But motion lights, you know, ways you can lock your doors. Look at all the ways. Look at all the things you can do. You know, the bottom line is you need to set up a plan. You fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly.
You need to know what you're going to do. If you're going to have whatever your defensive weapons are. If you have kids, you better make sure they know to leave them alone or put them in a place where they have to leave them alone.
Yeah.
You lock them up. You don't leave them out where anyone can access it.
Yep.
You know, whether you carry it in your car or wherever it is. There's so many devices you can get now that lock those and secure those.
Sure.
And you can have those staged, instant access to it, a staged firearm.
Yeah.
Big metal safe in your home that you have to take 5 minutes to remember the combination to open is not a staged firearm, you know. But again, really with the kids, really this time of the year, especially with deer hunting coming up, and a lot of deer rifles are out, a lot of hunting rifles are out, a lot of people are getting ready for that. they don't necessarily keep their guns stored away. They're cleaning them. They're getting stuff put away.
Yeah.
And now it's sitting in the room, and you've got that curious child that goes, well, I've seen this on TV. I've seen it somewhere else. And they're going to go over and touch it. They don't mean to harm anything, right?
No,
but
they're curious, so they want to know.
They're curious, and they touch
if
it.
they've watched you load your gun and your ammunition's just laying there, guess what they're going to do?
Well, they may, unless you've, taught your kids the simple rule. Stop, don't touch, tell an adult when you see it. That's the simple rule that we want to do.
Yeah.
But in the 4 basic rules of gun safety, you should practice those in your home. You should make sure your kids know those and everything. And rule number 1 is what? Treat every gun like it's loaded.
Yeah.
When I was at the sheriff's office, the tragic accidents that I went to that were negligent discharges where people were hurt or killed, they had one thing in common, all of them, and I went to quite a few of them. One thing in common, and that was it was always an unloaded gun. Yeah. They always said, "Oh, I thought the gun was unloaded."
Yeah.
Here's the rule: gun's never unloaded, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The gun's always treat every gun like it's always loaded.
Yeah.
That's rule number 1. What's rule number 2? You never point the gun at anything you don't want to destroy. Not in play, not in anything else. If you just, why don't you point the gun? Why do we have the rule, never point the gun at anything you don't want to destroy? Because if the gun goes off and a bullet leaves the barrel, who's responsible for what that bullet hits?
You are.
You are, whoever's got the gun in their hand. And if you've left a gun where a child or anyone that's a prohibited possessor accesses it, that gun goes off, you can be held liable also for what that bullet hits if you own the gun, right? Rule number 3 is always keep your finger off the trigger and away from the trigger, right? And outside the trigger guard.
That should go without saying, but
it should go, but it doesn't. You know why? Because kids and people who aren't familiar with guns are used to picking up squirt guns and squirt bottles and things at the counter. And the first thing they do is they put their hand on the trigger.
Sure.
Well, if you don't train and you haven't told them, they don't know how to handle that gun correctly. And it's our responsibility as parents and grandparents that if we have firearms around, that we need to make sure that our kids are gun-proof, that they know if they see one to leave it alone, or if they're going to use it, it's only with our supervision. I mean, we have kids. I'm on the coach for the shooting team for Osceola high school shooting team and the Osceola youth sports, I should say, shooting team. And we have kids that are 10 years old that are there with their parents, but they're actually shooting in the shooting sports teams. And I swear some of those 10 years old are better shots than I am when it comes to that. I don't know how they do it. It's amazing. But we're there to coach it. It's teaching them how to do it right and safely, right?
Yeah.
And teaching them how to keep their finger off the trigger and away from it. Teach them how to keep control of their muzzle, not pointing in any other direction. That's our responsibility as adults and parents to make sure we do that. And as an adults, if we see that, we should always say something. I mean, if I'm in the gun store and a guy picks up a gun from behind the counter and he's looking at it and he flags me with the barrel,
Ooh. Yeah.
Well,
I bet you tell them.
I do. I actually do tell them. I looked at the one guy the other day and I went, seriously? You have to point the gun at me? The entire store is here and you have to point the gun towards me? Oh, sorry, man, it's not loaded. I go, yeah, sure it's not. Right?
Yeah.
I believe that.
No guns on the
Yeah.
load.
And number 4, is always know your target and what's beyond. That's what's really important. And the reason that's important is they could be in their home. They can be practicing with their gun, practicing drawing, practicing loading, unloading their shot, whatever they're doing, and they think the muzzle's in a safe direction.
Yeah.
But it's pointed at the sheetrock wall. It's at the end of the room. And if you have family members on the other side of that sheetrock wall and that gun goes off, you've just endangered the life of those family members. If you live in an apartment building and you can hear what your neighbors are doing in their apartment, that wall's not thick enough to stop a bullet. So gun safety is paramount. Responsible gun ownership, you have to be safe with it.
Yeah.
And think about it. We have these tools to protect ourselves, to make ourselves hard to kill, to make our families hard to kill and hurt. But we need to know the law and we need to practice safety, because what happens with that firearm is our responsibility.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we tell that to everyone, our grandkids, our kids, everybody needs to hear that message.
I got a quick question because I'm out of time. Do you suppose most people are aware of what you've just spent 15 minutes explaining?
No, I'm not. They're not. And that's why we encourage them to take a course from Buffalo Ridge Defense. Even if it's a concealed carry course, take it. And you never intend on concealing and carrying a firearm outside of your home.
Yeah.
Or any weapon. Our courses cover the use of force when it's pepper spray, not lethal force. Tasers, billy clubs,
whatever
guns, your fists, kicking them, using your car. It covers all those things. It covers the safety rules. It covers how to store that gun or stage that gun in your home, safely, or whatever tool you're using. And then whether you choose to carry a firearm ever in public or not, fine. Whether you can take my course and go, I'm never going to apply for my concealed carry permit. Great, don't. But you know the laws. And you know what the safety is, and you know how to treat that firearm safely.
Somebody's listening, they're interested. How do they go about getting involved with Buffalo Ridge Defense?
Well, they can do it two ways, but I'll make it the simplest way. They simply call me.
There you go.
And call 715-491-6952. I'll say it again, because you had to grab their pencil. 715-491-6952. Or they can find us on the web at buffaloridgedefense.com.
All right. Pat, thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do for the community.
Thank you. Buffalo Ridge Defense. Give them a call. Why not?